Warning: the following video contains explicit language, which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Hey everybody, it's Jeff. Glad everybody's here. I hope you're having a good week. Been nice here the last few days. It hasn't been too terribly cold, and nice sunny weather and all that. People are noticing we're getting more daylight now. I guess we gained about an hour's more of a daylight here, so that's good. Hated it when it would get pitch black there at 4 o'clock in the afternoon or in the evening or whatever. So we're getting there. It's going the other way. Soon it'll be spring. So anyway, I got a couple of videos here that I'm going to play in this episode here. The first one I'm gonna show you here talks about how ICE is feeling a bit pissed off right now because a lot of them, I guess, or most of them, haven't been paid for their work. They signed a contract to get $10,000 a month or something like that. I don't know how it works, but they all signed contracts where they're supposed to get money for their work, and so far they haven't been paid. And it's really strange because didn't they, they were trying to give them a ton of money. What are they spending it on if they're not paying these people? And, these people are just really getting upset. And I guess, it's like, well, anybody that's ever done business with anything that's associated with Donald Trump always seems to get stiffed. Okay? He never pays his workers. And so how long do you think ICE is going to function here if these people don't get paid? I mean, are they doing this just so they can force the government to sign more money over to them, saying, oh, these poor guys aren't getting paid, so let's give them more money? They got more, they're funded more than anything now. So obviously that money isn't all going to ICE, people. Clearly it's not. If they're not paying these fucking agents or, whatever you want to call them, these soldiers here of ICE, if they're not honoring the agreement that they signed on paper they were supposed to get to do these things, then, hey, you're not going to have a loyal military. They're going to turn on you. Okay, so let's go to that video here. We'll talk about it on the other side.
Idiot ICE agents are publicly speaking out, whining about not getting paid.
Now, who could tell me why we're here in Minneapolis?
Pass.
Nope, can't pass. Come on, guys, what are we doing in Minneapolis?
This could be wrong, but Army?
Close. That's close.
That is indistinguishable from reality. And boo fucking who about not getting paid. Trump doesn't pay his staff. That's like his whole thing. We've known it for decades, and y'all still voted for him thrice. So fuck around and find out.
Just so I know, what were you told you should be doing?
Wildin' out?
The accuracy. But seriously, where is the money going? They have a budget of $85 billion and they're not paying their staff?
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem says all DHS officers on the ground in Minneapolis will start wearing body cameras immediately. Secretary Noem added the program will be expanded nationwide as funding is available.
Not paying staff, and they don't all have body cams, and they have the audacity to ask for more money, which prompted McGovern to epically roast this lawless and out of control agency.
I refuse to send another cent to Stephen Miller or Kristi Noem. She ought to be impeached, and he ought to be fired.
And Representative McGovern has an unlikely ally here, a former Trump staffer. We've got a lot to talk about. But first, have you subscribed to Really American? Make sure you click and tap all the things because you don't want to miss a moment from this amazing team. All right, let's get into this truly baffling statement from Ice Barbie that agents in Minneapolis will start wearing body cams. Start.
Investigators have been reviewing body-worn camera footage in Preddy's killing, but the officers at the scene of Good's death did not appear to be equipped with them. Secretary Noem added the program will be expanded nationwide as funding is available. And it is. This also comes as Alex Preddy's death has been ruled a homicide. A report made public yesterday from the Hennepin County Medical Examiner states that Preddy's death was caused by multiple gunshot wounds occurring after he was shot by law enforcement officers. A homicide.
This revelation that ICE agents are going to start wearing body cams is coming as morale is tanking inside the industry. Independent reporting that was picked up by Raw Story tells of ICE agents taking to the internet in places like Reddit to complain about not receiving health insurance or pay for weeks and even months. But of course, we don't feel sorry for them for a second, but we are all questioning where the hell is the money going? Because they don't have enough funding for all of them to have body cams. They're not paying their staff and they want more money. But Representative Jim McGovern from Massachusetts, he's not having any of it.
Let me first address the government funding package, which was added to our agenda over the weekend. And let me be crystal clear. I will be voting no on this funding package. I refuse to send another cent to Stephen Miller or Kristi Noem. They are undermining our Constitution, and the department they run is murdering American citizens in the streets. She ought to be impeached, and he ought to be fired. I think their words and actions are disgusting. I just checked social media. Neither one of them has retracted or apologized for smearing Alex Preddy or slandering him as a domestic terrorist or an assassin there to massacre law enforcement. Those were lies. Lies that were whipped up and spread by people in positions of authority who immediately sought to exploit the murder of a federal employee for their own partisan politics. And I refuse to fund such a lawless, out-of-control agency. I will not vote for business as usual while mass agents break into people's homes without a judicial warrant in violation of the Fourth Amendment. Just last week, a United States District Court judge said that ICE, and I quote, likely violated more court orders in January 2026 than some federal agencies have violated in their entire existence, end quote. That is inexcusable. And I have heard the argument that ICE already has plenty of money. Why not just vote for a 2-week CR? Well, I'm not voting to fund this agency for 2 seconds, let alone 2 weeks. They are terrorizing our communities and acting like they're above the law. That is my red line, and I think it should be the red line for all of us.
And echoing McGovern's calls for Noem and Miller to be ousted is a former Trump staffer who just launched a massive ad campaign to put more pressure on Congress.
The organization, Home of the Brave, looks to amplify the voices of people whose lives, they say, have been directly harmed by the Trump administration. And today the group is launching a new ad campaign pressuring Congress to impeach Secretary Kristi Noem over the actions of ICE in Minnesota. Let's bring in spokeswoman and advisory board member of Home of the Brave, Sarah Matthews. She's a former deputy press secretary during the first Trump administration and resigned from her position following the January 6, 2021 attack on the Capitol. Thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Calling for Kristi Noem's resignation. What are you asking people to do? Impeachment. And how do you rally members of Congress to get to this point?
Yeah, so we are doing a 6-figure ad buy where we have mobile billboards that will be circling the Capitol grounds for the next week that will be saying that ICE needs no more new funding and that Kristi Noem needs to be impeached. And on top of that, we have a full-page ad buy where we're wrapping copies of the Washington Post and having those delivered directly to members of Congress and calling for the impeachment of Kristi Noem as well. And we need to keep the pressure on these members of Congress because they know that she is completely unqualified and that what has happened in Minneapolis has disqualified her from serving in this position. But unfortunately, we only seem to find that Republicans find their voice to speak out against Trump when they're leaving office. And so we've seen Senator Thom Tillis say that Kristi Noem needs to go. But we need to keep the pressure on these other members of Congress because she should not be in this role, especially after everything that has happened in Minneapolis with the killing of 2 American citizens and all of the violence and chaos that has unfolded there and across the country and their immigration enforcement efforts.
Sarah, good morning. As you know better than anybody, that it's very difficult to cross Donald Trump, almost impossible. It's why, not impossible, you can do it, but they don't. Most Republicans don't do it. To your credit, you left the administration after what you saw on January 6th and have spoken out since then. But what are your hopes that some people may raise their voices? I mean, Donald Trump, as you know, has the power to silence whoever he needs to silence, and it does take a retiring member off. And to say something, though, we did hear from one member at the top of our show in Florida, Congressman Jimenez, a Republican, saying, we've gone too far with this. Sir, you have secured the border. Go after the bad guys. Leave the other people alone. So what are your hopes that we might actually hear some more Republican voices, at least on this issue?
You know, I do wish that a lot of Republicans would come forward because it's morally the right thing to do. But politically, it would also be the right thing for them to do. And so that's where I do have some hope that maybe we'll see more who will speak out and be pressured to impeach Kristi Noem. Because if you look at the numbers in polling, Americans are not happy with everything that's going on with ICE. In a new New York Times poll, 61% of Americans said that they think ICE has gone too far. And look, Americans wanted immigration enforcement. It's part of the reason why Donald Trump was put back into power. But they don't want to see this. They don't like all the violence and chaos that has unfolded, and especially not the killing of 2 innocent American citizens. We know that Barack Obama deported nearly 3 million people, and he did it without all of this violence and chaos. So it can be done. And I think that if we're going to have any hope of these politicians doing the right thing when it comes to ICE funding, when it comes to impeaching Kristi Noem, it's going to be that it would be of the political benefit to them. And so maybe there could be some Republicans that could be swayed, but I'm going to be continuing to speak out on this, as will our organization, Home of the Brave, and keeping the pressure on them.
And here at Really American, this team is going to keep putting pressure on this administration as well by giving you the information you need to empower your political conversations and activities in the future. So make sure you subscribe, leave a comment, and share this video with someone in your life, because that is how we keep the conversation going. For Really American Media, I am Corinne Straight. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.
Okay, so yeah, as you could see, it's a problem, and it's a problem that it seems like, you know, if this has been going on for this long, then clearly they haven't wanted the public to know about this. But because it's gone on for all this time, it can't be hidden anymore, right? I mean, it was gonna come out. At the same time, I heard that Chicago has created a registry for ICE agents, sort of like a sex offender registry. Now they're implementing one for people who are working for ICE, and their faces are known to who they are. Now, if people are going to argue and say that that's illegal, then they can't argue that it is, because the sex offender registry is there, right? And if you say that, well, the sex offender registry is legal because those are criminals, it's like, well, hasn't ICE been acting criminally all this time? You know, haven't they? I mean, they've killed people. They've separated families. Some of these people were Americans. So they're invading homes without warrants. Wouldn't you call that criminal? So, you know, like I said, people are getting really pissed. And you know, I hear, you know, like I said, the Black Panthers are gearing up to protect their neighborhoods from ICE and stuff. You know, and there's going to be other groups out there, I'm sure, that are going to be following suit and doing the same damn thing to protect, you know, their neighborhoods from ICE. And, you know, this sort of thing should have been predicted because it's happened before in Germany. You know, people were protecting people, you know, and you know, this thing, remember Anne Frank? And people would say that would never happen here. Well, guess what? It is happening here. Okay, it is happening here. There are people being hidden, you know, in some places, in buildings or in homes or something like that, afraid to go out because of ICE. Well, why was Anne Frank so important? Because she hid with her family in an abandoned room in a building upstairs. They were being hidden away. You know, they had that so it wouldn't look so obvious that there was another floor. And they were protecting the family that were Jewish from, you know, the goddamn Nazis coming around. Same fucking thing's happening here. So we're having our own version of that right here in this country. You know, and people are not going to be as forgiving about the ICE agents, just as they weren't very forgiving to those people in Nazi Germany that were doing what they were doing. All right? This is a stain that cannot be wiped away. Okay? Because these people are a sledgehammer. They act like a bulldozer. They act on their emotions. When they're pissed off, they take it out on innocent people. Okay? You know, they get bitchy with folks if that bother to question them. All right? And, you know, it's, and the more they push back, the harder the other side pushes. Okay? Naturally. That's naturally what happens, is when you get violent with others, they match that violence with their own. And when you escalate, they escalate. You know, an equal and opposite reaction. They don't know this stuff because if they were trained properly, they would. Why do you think policemen don't approach every situation with guns blazing and everything? Because they don't want to escalate something out of proportion. If they can handle a situation calmly and peacefully, they'll take that road first. Okay? And it all hinges on you. How you treat that cop, how far he's going to push it. But if you don't push back on him, okay, then everything will be taken care of peacefully. And that's the way, these immigration things used to be handled before Trump, is that they would be peaceful about it, okay? And yeah, it was always sad, you know, when families were separated and stuff like that. But at least there wasn't people lying dead on the streets. There wasn't blood everywhere. Okay, there wasn't this kind of ruckus that, you know, that they make now. I mean, it's nobody wants to see this shit happening in their neighborhood. So why make a spectacle of it? Because, you know, in this day and age, something that happens like that's going to go all over the fucking globe here in less than a day. Oh, no, you know what I'm saying? So why take that avenue as the first step in anything? You know, it doesn't work. I mean, a lot of times, when the military tries to do policing and stuff like they did in Vietnam, it wasn't always pretty because, you know, these people were trained to be fighters, not policemen. So every situation always ended up being a big to-do, and it always ended up with someone getting shot. It's a bad way to handle things. Okay, and these ICE agents are acting very much like military. They're not actually doing a policeman's job. They're just out there with guns at hand, suited up with Kevlar, driving around in unmarked vehicles, you know, covering their faces, and basically kicking in doors without a fucking warrant and just scaring the living shit out of everybody, you know, and if they talk back, they get shot. I mean, this is not the way it's supposed to be. That's not the way that works, okay? That's not how it works. In this country, we're supposed to have rules. We have laws for that sort of thing, and nobody seems to care about that anymore. They think that that's just an obstacle that's been getting in the way. Well, you know, when your ass is the one that's on the line, you want those fucking obstacles in the way, right? So you can have proper justice. It's always easy to sit there and tell other people, oh, you don't deserve the rights and stuff. But if you're the one that's under trouble or the gun's pointed at you, you're going to be screaming, I want a lawyer. I want, you know, to talk to my attorney. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be the one screaming. And it happens to everybody. Okay? It happens to everybody. People constantly, when they get pulled over, I mean, usually they're the ones that'll be the first. So you shouldn't be drinking and driving. And when they get caught drinking and driving, I ain't drunk. You know, and then they start threatening, I'll sue you. I want my lawyer. You see what I'm saying? It's okay for other people to sit there and say who can have and who can't have rights in this country. But when it's their ass on the line, they want every fucking right known to man. Okay? And that's what I'm saying. It's bullshit that so many people out there are basically supporting ICE, but they don't really understand. They don't understand. And now the ICE agents, like I said, they're not getting paid. So now they're going out there doing their job with rage now because they ain't got money. So what do you think that's going to do to people on the street, the innocent bystanders? Okay, they're all going to be under the crosshairs. They're going to take their rage out on everybody. Okay, so they're going to be more dangerous than they were before because they feel like they've been betrayed by Trump. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if one of these ICE agents in his fever of rage goes looking for Trump himself. Okay, he's creating a problem that could backfire on him big time. Okay, these people will go after him, and then what's going to happen? You see, you can't, you know, Trump has learned absolutely zero about people. He doesn't know how people are. He doesn't understand people because he's never had to deal with real people in his life. Okay, money has always been his love, his first and only love. Okay, women were just a commodity that, you know, have in bed, and that's about it. I mean, that's all Melania is to him, but I doubt she even appreciates that anymore because, you know, look at him. He just shit himself here. What was that, yesterday or day before? While he was having a conversation there, and people were like, oh, God, you know, couldn't happen to a better guy, I think. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's sad that, you know, elderly people go through that, but Trump doesn't deserve our sympathy. He doesn't. For what he is, he doesn't deserve it. This man's never been nice. In all the fucking years that guy walked the earth, he's never been a nice man, ever. Okay? So whatever happens to the devil is A-okay by me. Okay? All right, let's go to a commercial break. We'll be back.
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Roxy Sugar, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you, original.
What the they did. Look at all this. You think they did that with the warrant? Look at this. Look at these. Where's your guys' warrant?
Stay back.
Where's your guys' warrant?
Stay back.
No, where's your warrant?
Stay back.
Where's the warrant?
Stand right there.
Where's the warrant?
I don't need one.
Yes, you do. Where's the warrant? You guys do this?
Back. I need you to wrap that up. Stop getting closer to me. Stay back there.
I'm back. I'm back. I ain't gonna do to you. I'm back. You guys have to leave. My lawyer is coming.
Good.
You guys want to get sued?
Are you done?
What's your badge
Stay
number?
back.
No, I want to get you guys. All right.
This kill you inside your stuff.
Yes, you guys aren't supposed to be back here.
Stand back here. You can record, but
I'm already back here. You guys haven't shown me. You guys haven't identified yourself. I don't know who the you guys are. Who the what is that? What the is that?
Federal agent.
I need a warrant. I need a warrant.
You do not need a warrant.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. You know how you guys came in?
Listen, yeah,
illegally.
No.
You guys broke the window.
Yes, we did.
Because you guys don't have a warrant.
We don't need one.
Yes,
Stay
you
back
do.
Here. Stay back here.
Hey, what the I ain't doing
between the couple, girl. But I am a few person of your love. So I believe in you when you said you had love. It's in the
I just think it's funny that the morally superior liberals are so quick to be like, Trump's a felon, he's a bad guy, and all these things. Yeah, you know, and they're like, no, felons should be able to vote and do all these things. They're like, unless it's Donald Trump. But George Floyd was apparently an amazing person, so.
Well, George Floyd was brutally murdered by a police officer who was convicted of brutally murdering him, and unfortunately we saw it all on a cell phone. Otherwise, it would have probably never been reported. I can see you shaking your head there, Destiny. Do you want to say
this
something?
happens all the time. Whenever you debate conservatives, I mean, it's happened here. I've seen it happen in other places. It'll be like, here's the standards for Republican lawmakers, and then they'll point to like people on Twitter on the other side, like, well, what about that person? I don't remember voting for George Floyd for president or nominating him for president. The idea that that's your basis of comparison, like, oh, you've got a problem with Donald Trump, but what about George Floyd? It's just such a hilariously telling, I think, example.
Well, let me ask you a difficult question.
Well, he was also a criminal that overdosed, but that's another situation.
That still doesn't get him any closer to being nominated for president of the Democratic Party. I don't understand what the comparison is for.
Some people have a deep, abiding respect for the natural beauty that was once this country. And some people don't. People start pollution. People can stop it. Right for Pollution Booklet, Box 1771, Radio City Station, New York.
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it. It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
Welcome back. Okay, you know, I heard that J.D. Vance's name also appeared in the Epstein files. So, I mean, I think that just come out today. So I haven't really read too much into that, but that certainly is not surprising. I mean, doesn't it seem, you know, strange to everybody out there, or maybe not strange, but Trump has surrounded himself with people that in one way or another knew or associated with Epstein at some point in their life, okay? You know, you think about all the people that he knows that he has working with him, and it doesn't seem like a surprise that if you dig into that person's past, you'll find out that at one point or different points in their life, they had to do something with Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, and it's like, you know, it's like a gang, right? Like this gang of assholes that would have stuck together, and now that one of them is sitting in the White House, he brings in the gang to fill in the, you know what I'm saying? So maybe, just maybe, all these other people that he put into positions that obviously are not qualified to be in those positions probably have their names in those lists too, because they knew each other beforehand, all right? Now, some of these people are younger than Trump, all right? So that doesn't mean he ain't the kind of guy that would hang around people younger than him, okay? But it does mean that, you know, this fucking system that they had in place for sex trafficking has been around a long fucking time, okay? So at some point, these people, you know, wealthy people kind of stick together, I guess, and they kind of knew Epstein, and Epstein had clout with a lot of different places, and he was a good person to know if they wanted something, and maybe, you know, they figure, you know, well, he's into the sex trafficking, you know, and they start to get into that, you know, and that's how it begins. So, like I said, you know, J.D. Vance's name being in it doesn't mean that, oh, well, you know, he was constantly in contact with Epstein. It just means that at some point, you know, maybe, you know, there was some deals made with this guy, and, you know, there's a possibility that he might have been involved in some of the sex trafficking thing. I mean, I don't know, they haven't been that specifics yet about it. You know, like I said, I haven't read the whole thing. But I just find it on the surface to be kind of telling that a lot of these people that Trump surrounds himself with knew this fucking guy at some point in their life. They, you know, does Mike Pence's name come up in the Epstein files? I mean, if Trump is that kind of guy, you know, we have to think about all the people that did originally start with him, but then he fired or threw under the bus or something, that all those people have some connection with Epstein at some point in their lives, you know. There's certainly a list of names, I think, some names anyway, not all the names, but there's a list of names you can find, and there's a lot of famous people in that list of names that's been shown in the files released so far. Some of them actors, some of them, you know, celebrities in one way or another. musicians or whatever that knew Epstein. So we know from that there's a lot of money. It's a big fucking network. It's global because it involved, you know, a royalty member there in England. Okay, so we know that. So it's not just confined to the United States. So there could be like maybe even Russia, since Putin and Trump know each other, and Epstein knows Putin. So there could have been Russian people involved in this too. So like I said, around the world, it's a global thing. And it's been going on for Christ almighty. I mean, 70s, you know, starting in the 70s, and it's just nonstop. And now that's probably gotten so big that it's still going, even with Epstein out of the picture. It's still happening. It's still going on. That's how big it's gotten. Okay, it's like you couldn't stop the oil industry even if you turn the key off. I mean, it's, you know, everything's going to continue regardless. So, but it's that big. It's that big of a system, and it's sad because it's sort of like years ago when we were finding out about the corrupt priests, and people thought it was just a handful, you know, 5 or 6 bad priests in our town, and come to find out we're talking thousands. Okay, nobody had the fucking scope in mind of just how far that went until they dug and dug and dug into it. Okay, well, that's what's happening here. Nobody in their mind ever thought that this thing was such a big fucking mess, because, you know, who could imagine some of their favorite people being involved, you know, their favorite celebrity being involved in this. Okay, but it's true. You know, it's been a very quiet and underground thing, but now we're uncovering the fucking dirt, and we're seeing what's underneath, and we're seeing a lot of crap there that we never thought was there. And Trump is right in the middle of all that shit. His name comes up more than anybody else's in those fucking files. So you know he was heavily into that. So if anything, him and Epstein, I mean, maybe Epstein started it, but I think Trump was one of his biggest customers. Okay, Melania's name comes up in the Epstein files. In fact, I think they were saying that he was introduced to Melania through Epstein, meaning she was probably a prostitute or something like that. I don't know what that means. But clearly, you know, that's where he got her to be, you know, for the first meeting was through that, the sex thing there, you know, Christ, the sex trafficking. She's obviously not from America, okay, but, you know, this is a guy who doesn't want illegals into this country. I mean, you know, but yet he's married to one who probably could be, you know, I don't even know if she's a citizen. Has anyone ever checked that, you know, and see? Anyway, you know, talking about finding out who's legal and who isn't legal, this other video is going to make you laugh, but it's also a sobering kind of humor, because there's a guy who was posing as a helpline for folks who want to rat somebody out as being illegal, okay? He set himself up as, you call me, I'm a representative of ICE or whatever, okay? I don't know how he did it, but he had a number put out there for people to call, and he was getting calls. He was getting calls, and and this is really kind of a bizarre thing, but he got one that was a school teacher or a kindergarten teacher who was ratting out a couple of her students for being illegal in this country. And so she calls this number thinking it was a legitimate number, and the guy recorded that conversation. So let's go to that. You'll love it. I think it's funny as hell. Okay, I'll see you on the other side.
You stupid or something? Mama says stupid as stupid does.
Yeah, turns out Mama was right. And of late, there's no shortage of stupid doing as stupid does in the name of making America great again.
I have my own hotline for reporting illegal immigrants, and people call it thinking that it's legitimate.
And some people, particularly hateful bigot MAGA Karens, are so stupid, thanks, I assume, to those red hats cutting off the oxygen to their pea brains, that they'll even fall for an internet troll setting up a fake hotline to try and deport people. Thankfully, the brilliant internet satirist Ben Palmer here documented these dumbasses exposing themselves via his fake ICE deportation hotline, with one MAGA Karen who is a kindergarten teacher calling to try and deport her student and the parents because she suspects they're Hispanic.
I mean, they seem like nice people or whatever, but I looked them up in our files and I was like, oh, she was born in Honduras and he's born in El Salvador.
Then another lady last month tried to call ICE on her neighbor, and that one got wild.
I have some really great news about the individual that you called about.
Really?
Yeah, I was able to visit with him.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, when I showed up, I actually, he was listening to Michael Jackson, the song Smooth Criminal.
Mm-hmm.
The Smooth Criminal. You're aware of that song?
No, I don't think I'm familiar.
Oh, what you've been struck by a smooth criminal.
Oh, okay.
So be sure to like and subscribe to Really American to help highlight these maggots fucking around and finding out. And I'll leave the links to the full videos, as well as Ben's channel, which I cannot recommend highly enough, in the description below. Alright, let's kick things off with the bigoted kindergarten teacher trying to call the Gestapo on her own student's family.
I talked to a kindergarten teacher that wants to deport the parents of a kindergartner at her school. And it looks like they have a child who was born in New York, which makes them an American citizen.
Yeah.
So we're looking to deport the parents and leave the child.
Right. Like I said, I don't know if they're here illegally. I just think it's odd, you know? It's very odd.
What did you say was odd?
It's just odd for them to even be here. Like, I'm a teacher at a school. Okay, I know schools. I know the whole law about schools. I mean, they seem like nice people or whatever, but I looked them up in our files, and I was like, oh, she was born in Honduras, and he's born in El Salvador. So right there, it's like, okay, maybe I'm on the right path. You know, they drop off their kid every day.
Jesus Christ. The do-your-own-research lady uses her position as a kindergarten teacher to look up this family's identities and then try to report them to ICE. Not that any of these people ever meant it, but yeah, real protective of the children.
So their kid is their kid a student at your school?
Yes. Yes.
One of your
kindergarten.
Okay, so now you want to get his parents deported?
Well, I'm just saying, if they're taking up resources from our county,
okay.
I'm not into illegal people being here.
I mean, if the son's in kindergarten, what, is 6 or 7,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, he's probably like 5 or 6.
And they was born in New York, so that means, assumingly they've been in America for 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
Now, if you're not chronically online like me, you may have missed that he just gave himself away by making a 6'7" joke, and the lady still doesn't even know that he's trolling her.
And now we're going to go ahead and just remove them.
Are you like questioning that, or what do you know?
Yeah. Sorry, no, I'm just writing this down for my own personal notes, and my supervisor teaches at school, wants kindergarten child's parents deported.
You make it sound terrible. You make it sound like it's terrible, but...
Oh, well, I'm just writing down what you're telling me.
Okay. Well, yeah, okay.
Sounds terrible.
I love that. Oh, you're making it sound terrible. No, that's you, lady.
Let's see, I can write that down too, I guess. And that's Hispanic in an area where you wouldn't normally see Hispanics. Okay.
Right. Like people that are born in another country.
Yeah. Because you normally see those people where?
Like in the cities.
Got it. Okay. Hispanics out of place, now in country, not where they belong in city. So we were able to confirm that they are documented citizens along with their child.
Oh, good.
So yeah, it's good because we don't have to deport a 6-year-old. And yeah, I mean, you know, that little fella could have been a threat to our national security.
Why are you talking to me like this?
Say again?
Why do you talk to me like this?
I'm sorry, what are you referring to?
Like you're like sarcastic.
Oh, okay. I mean, I just thought that maybe you'd be okay and just happy that the people that you reported were actually here legally and that they belong, just like you and me.
Could I talk to your supervisor? You said you had a supervisor.
Yeah, I just thought you were going to be happy.
Yeah, I am happy, but I'm not happy with your attitude.
Whoa. She did it. She did the thing. Asking to talk to his supervisor. I can't believe it.
You just said to me the 6-year-old won't be a threat to national security.
Yeah.
That's sarcastic.
I would think that the people that were deporting, especially 6-year-olds, that there would be a good reason for it.
I was talking about the people who I thought they're illegal because they were born in a different country. I can't help that they have a 6-year-old. That's on them.
You know what we'll do? I'll get in touch with the supervisor. I send him a text. When he gets back to me, I'll see if he can follow up with you and this.
And what is his name?
His name is Brian. But yeah, thought you'd be happy to know that they're documented, but we'll have the follow-up.
I am happy. I'm super happy. I'm glad, That's wonderful.
Well, it's good. The 6-year-old can stay in the school and, I know it's tough looking at him. And but yeah, we'll get on my supervisor. Just he can give you a call back in a little bit. My understudy here said you were having some issues with him about some out-of-place Hispanics.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay.
You sound exactly like Greg. Okay. I just didn't like his attitude.
I really do apologize for that. Looks like Brian said we did confirm the document status of these individuals, and we're happy we were able to do that for you despite the sarcasm and the things that you're complaining about.
Okay, yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad that they're fine folks and belong here and all that good stuff. But he was criticizing me because there was a 6-year-old boy involved. You know what I mean? But he's acting like I'm this terrible person because I'm going to deport a 6-year-old. And in fact, he goes today, because a 6-year-old would be a threat to national security.
Absolutely brilliant trolling on Ben's part, but man, it is just so disheartening to know that these people exist. And y'all, we gotta be careful because they could even be your neighbors.
I made a website for reporting illegal immigrants, and sometimes people end up on the website thinking that it's real. And somebody wanted to report a man that they suspected to be an illegal immigrant that lives in their neighborhood. So I reached out to see if I could help.
There is one person who comes and he's non-speaking, non-English speaking, and he will come possibly, maybe you'll see him 2 weekends out of the month, and it's not even for a complete weekend. He'll come Saturday like a thief in the night at 10:30, 11:30 at night, and then leave Sunday, and he's gone.
Okay.
It's just very, very suspicious. While he is here, when he pulls into the driveway,
yeah,
and the lights always on.
They're using electricity in the home.
Yes.
And
yes.
And that is definitely suspicious.
Yes.
And they're also using the driveway.
Right, and the light is always lit in the garage. When he comes, the light stays on. We cannot see the basement section from our kitchen window. We can only see that there's a light lit, and that's the garage window that we can see the light lit.
Yeah.
So
just not being able to see what the resident is doing inside their own home, that's what raises the suspicions.
Exactly.
Oh, this lady is so dead serious. She doesn't even understand how stupid she sounds when he points it out directly to her face.
First thing he thought of was, I hope they're not running a meth lab. So.
People owning different homes and not always being in them 24/7, that raises a feeling of suspicion.
Well, certainly.
Probably millions of people who own different homes and may not be in them 24/7.
Well, that might be, but it raises suspicion with me. Why would you buy a $230,000 home and not live in it or not rent it out? Now, let's be practical about it. Let's be logical.
Yeah, let's be practical and logical, says the lady calling the Gestapo on her neighbor like she's in 1940s fucking Germany.
I've always been that way. I'll be nice to my neighbors, and that's it.
It really does sound like you definitely mind your own business when you're not looking out the windows.
I prefer it that way. I prefer it that way.
So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna conduct an investigation. We'd ask if you just don't look, don't bother, don't do anything, and as soon as we gather some more information. But I would just want to let you know it's gonna be okay, and just be sure not to don't even look. Don't even look out the window.
No, certainly won't.
I have some really great news about the individual that you called about.
Really?
Yeah, I was able to visit with him. And yeah, when I showed up, I actually he was listening to Michael Jackson, the song "Smooth Criminal." The Smooth Criminal. You aware of that song?
No, I don't think I'm familiar.
Oh, what, you've been struck by a smooth criminal.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, I thought that was funny because we're actually investigating to see whether he is a criminal.
Right.
Right. But what we learned is that the reason he's listening to Michael Jackson is to further learn English. So he is, and we were able to check his documents. He's a non-criminal legal citizen, which that was great. We were able to ask some questions about the stuff that he does. I know you had some suspicions there. He does like electricity, so he's a human being.
So that's where that comes from when he requested electricity be whatever.
Yeah, he does like to use electricity, which is it's unique to him as a person. You know, he's a human being, and you know, some human beings like electricity, others don't, but he turns out he's one that does. And he does like to be able to see what he's doing because he does work. When he's in the home, he builds school parts for needy children, like rulers, school supplies, protractor, calculators. And so, yeah, I know you did have some suspicions that he was running a meth lab.
That was something that was mentioned by my friend when he thought he heard a loud bang come from next door.
Right. Well, the good news is I could confirm that it's not a meth lab. It's actually a math lab.
A math lab?
Yes. He's building rulers and school supplies for needy children and orphan children, which is great. It's a lot better than a meth lab.
Oh my, I can't even. Oh, dude, I highly recommend taking a deep dive down this guy's channel. It's such a heartwarming, well, it's not heartwarming, but it's very cathartic to watch him just absolutely troll these people into oblivion and to watch them just expose themselves and make themselves seem as stupid as they fucking are. God, I needed that laugh today. I hope y'all did too, and you enjoyed it. Be sure to like and subscribe, and like I said, definitely check out Ben's channel. He's fucking hilarious. He's all over social media as well. I'll drop his links down in the description below. But for Really American, I'm Kenny Hess, and I'll be here reporting about these MAGA ass hats outing themselves until it's all over. Thank you all for all of your support. We are so close to 1 million subscribers, and we couldn't have done it without you guys. And in the spirit of our sister channel, US Democratic Socialists, I am all about sharing the wealth, especially when people are doing amazing things like Ben is doing. So 100% be sure to go drop a like and subscribe and check out his videos. The Duolingo one is especially good. All right, with that, I will see you guys in the next one.
I have to laugh every time I see this. If it would have been me calling a line like that and listening to the other person on the other end saying what he was saying, I would have known just like that. This is a bullshit fucking guy. This is not real. Okay? I would have known right off because he was clearly playing with these people on the phone. Okay? He was turning the narrative around on them. And yes, the lady at the beginning kind of picked up on it, but she didn't really realize that it was, this was just a crank number. But because she was such a MAGA bitch, she wasn't going to let go of this thing. She wasn't going to let go. And so her own arrogance kept pushing her to out herself, to show just how vile an animal that she is. You can be a school teacher and still be a fucking animal. A bigot, racist, okay? Don't think just because you got a college education or anything like that, that's going to erase the bigotry, okay? No. That's not how it works, okay? Education doesn't always stop racism. What stops it is people learning how to build up tolerances, okay? You got to have tolerances to live in a country such as ours, based on having people of all cultures living under the same roof. If you don't have any tolerances, you're going to be a very unhappy person. Okay? Everything is always going to be a fucking problem, a headache, you know, a complaint. You're never going to be happy. And these people, like that teacher and the other people on those phone calls, these people are living in a world that they are trying to force into their goddamn way of thought. Meaning, they don't want a world of shades of gray. They want it black and white. And I don't mean by race. I'm just talking about they want it as simple as that. They want to condense the world into a black and white reality. Okay, 1 and 0, positive and negative. Okay, but guess what? Anyone who's been around long enough will tell you that is a fantasy. Nobody lives in a black and white world. There are so many shades of gray out there. People throughout history have always tried to segregate groups here, segregate groups over there. You know, these people live in this country, those people live in that country. We spend all our lives doing this shit. Okay? And even in those little groups that we put out there, they're still separating each other because, well, these people don't think the way I think. You know, we're constantly fighting and trying to pull each other apart all the time. I mean, do you think that if Hitler won World War II, that he would have been satisfied with just having Aryans in his country? No. There would have been more separation. We need to get these Aryans out. These are, you know what I'm saying? It never would have ended. It's a bottomless pit with people like that who try to create a black and white world. At the end of the day, they're all by themselves. They're all alone in the world because that's the way they want it. All right? That's what that leads to. Nobody having anybody. Everybody being a separate. Humanity isn't made to live that way. Okay? You spend yourself 10 years in isolation somewhere, no contact with anybody for 10 years, you're going to lose your fucking mind. Okay? Nobody is meant to be alone. But that's what segregation is aiming to do. Turn everybody alone. Okay? That might seem like a great thing for some people, but try it. Deliberately isolate yourself from everybody for 10 years. Okay? You remember that movie Castaway? Okay, with Tom Hanks? And how it started when he first landed on that deserted island. And after, what was it, 5 years or something like that? How he ended up? That's what it is when you live alone. And you've got nobody to talk to. Okay? And people with no tolerance for anybody that is different than them, that lives differently than them, thinks differently than them, if you can't tolerate people like that, you got a problem. You're the person that has the problem. Not the world around you, but you. You're the one that has the problem, that you can't stand people of different races and different colors and different ideologies and different religions. Hell, even religion itself can't be black and white. That's why we have so many different versions of a religion in this world, okay? Because nobody can agree on a fucking thing, okay? But instead of fighting with each other about that, why can't we just listen to it? Why can't we just say, you know, that's not such a bad thing? Or, you know, okay, so we don't agree on that, but hey, that's works for you? Fine. You go with it. But we shouldn't condemn people for thinking differently. But this is what Trump does. He has made it so that way we feel comfortable to condemn people who don't think like they do. Or like, you know what I'm saying, like MAGA. They will condemn everybody that doesn't think like them. It's like, well, hello, MAGA, but this is the United States. Okay, and in this country, we learn, or we're supposed to have learned how to tolerate difference. You should have learned that when you were in school, because I bet for most of these people in MAGA, when they went to school, it was a mix of different people there. You know, blacks, whites, reds, browns, whatever you want to call them, okay? They were all in the same classroom together. You should have learned that this is the way it is in this country. So I can't say that any of these people in MAGA ever went to a school that was just, you know, all blondes with blue eyes. Okay? In most cases, there were some people of different nationalities in your classroom. But you befriended them without knowing who they were. At that time, you probably didn't even think anything of it. But somewhere along the way, when you were growing up and became an adult, all of a sudden you got shit put into your head, and now you can't tolerate anybody who is different than you. Okay? And here you are, calling fucking hotlines, trying to get poor little kids and their parents deported out of the school. What the fuck is the matter with your head? You have fallen so far down the goddamn pit, you couldn't dig yourself out if you tried. Okay? That's sad. This is a kindergarten teacher who really needs to be re-educated because she obviously has lost her fucking grip on reality. She thinks she's doing a great noble thing. She probably thought maybe there was a reward for that for her. You know, who knows? But it's just the idea that, you know, people you wouldn't expect to be this way are right around you. Like they said, it could be your neighbor. It could be a policeman. It could be a teacher. It could be a priest. You don't know. Because people haven't been taught well enough to learn how to tolerate difference. Okay? And that right there is the root of a lot of problems that plague this planet throughout time. Is nobody wants to fucking tolerate the other side. Okay? The Palestinians and the Jews, you think if they had a little more tolerance, you know, things could settle some over there? No. The hatred is overpowering. These people, they feed on it. They live by it. They've made it so much a part of their existence, they couldn't separate from themselves if they tried. It's in their, you know, bones, if you want to call it, in their DNA. Okay? It's impossible. No matter how many people die with this intolerance they have for each other, won't change a damn thing. Okay, I hate to see that happen in this country. I mean, yeah, we've had our periods that look pretty bleak in America, you know, with slavery and stuff like that. People who could demean another side or call them animals. Oh, they don't have the same rights as, you know, these folks or we, you know what I'm saying? Okay, people are able to do that, and they're still doing it to this day. Okay, Trump is one of those fucks that does that. But it's all based in intolerance. Trump probably spent most of his life hanging around with people like him. Okay? And so you know, when you hang around a bunch of people like that, you know, what are they going to think of the working class? Okay? So, yeah. This is how we get to that point right here in our country where we got this one guy who seems to be the icon for everything that a lot of people in America behave like. Okay, you know, they just like Trump. They can't stand illegals. They can't stand blacks. They can't stand browns. They can't stand this or that or whatever the hell else it is that can't stand. Okay, and they want to see all these people gone and have a country of just one kind of folk, just like what Hitler was trying to do with Germany. That makes these people, all these people in MAGA, Hitler-esque. Okay, they're all wannabe Hitlers. Okay, now, you know, I hate to say that, but that we have that problem in this country, especially in the 21st century. But hey, a year, a different set of numbers on a calendar doesn't make for a better world. It's how we live in those years that makes them a better world. We could be enlightened in 1900 and think of that as a great period. We can be enlightened in the 21st century and create a great period. But if we cling to the same crap generation after generation and we never try to fix it, we never try to take those steps within ourselves to improve ourselves, then the 20th century is just like the 21st century, which is like the 22nd century, the 23rd century. You know what I'm saying? Nothing changes. I was trying to explain this to a friend of mine here, and I was saying, look, I mean, he has in his head that, you know, humanity can change for the better. You know, it can. And I said, yes, I do agree that it can. It can change for the better, but it's not going to happen fast. I said, how long has humanity been on this earth? Okay, you think about the number of the thousands of years that humans been around. And are we that much different than we were 2,000 years ago? Okay, we'll just take that number. We may have advanced technologically, but our thinking hasn't really changed that much. And that's in 2,000 years. So if we're thinking about, you know, a great future where people live in harmony and we share our resources and stuff like that, I don't see that happening for another 3,000-4,000 years from now. Okay? And that's just being optimistic. I don't see that changing a lot unless some great tragic thing happens to the human race between now, you know, and then. I don't see that that's going to happen on its own. You know, when World War II happened, after it was done, all the areas that were hit by bombs and stuff like that, like, you know, in England, in Germany, it required people to come together in order to rebuild their countries, okay? And that's where a lot of that, what do you call it, the government healthcare system, that's when that originated, okay? And it's still in play today for a lot of places. But it was because of that where these people learned how to work together, to put aside their hatred, and to work together to rebuild what was lost, okay? They created some good things along the way. We never had that happen here, okay? If it was our country that got bombed to shit in a war, I think we would have done the same. We would have come together to rebuild our cities and everything, and we probably would have instituted along the way a universal care system because we wouldn't have had a business infrastructure to be able to take care of that, so it would have been up to the government to do it. And once that was in place, that would have stayed around forever. Because, you know, it's hard to get rid of something once you've got it, right? I mean, that's why it's so hard to get rid of the private sector from taking care of healthcare, because they've been around so long, they're rooted into this country, okay? But if it had gone the other way, it would have been very difficult for people to let go of that government system to side with the business, okay? That's how it went over there, okay? And so that's what I'm saying. Unless we have a incident like that creates the need to do something different, to do something better, I don't see that humanity is going to change in the foreseeable future. You know, we're not talking hundreds of years; we're talking thousands. Okay, that's how humanity evolves in long steps. Okay, and it's usually just a small step forward in thousands of years. Okay, so our thinking is going to have to change a lot in order for that to happen on its own. Otherwise, it's going to be forced on us to come to that way of thinking through some great tragedy, you know, another war or maybe some kind of cataclysm of some sort. That's going to force people to put aside that black and white fucking thinking and start embracing what's left and who's left, and trying to prop themselves back up as a society to where we were. Because it can't happen if you're going to immediately single people out and say, oh, well, you don't deserve to. You're going to need help. You're going to need help no matter where it's from. Okay? And through that, you people will learn how to put aside your differences and how to overlook them and learn how to tolerate things. See, that's the thing we haven't done enough of in this country, is we haven't gone through enough difficult times like that to make us look at each other past our differences to see the humanity underneath, okay? And that's why, you know, when you see veterans and stuff like that, they hug each other and everything, because they've been through hell. And it doesn't matter that the person they hug is a black person or gay or whatever it is. They all work side by side through a fucking war zone, and that's their bond. You see what I'm saying? A real veteran, okay, out there who's gone through hell in a war or stuff, that's the way they are. Okay, they will put aside those differences, and their common denominator is the struggle they had to go through, that they survived. And hey, they all got something to talk about because they've been there. And we don't do enough of that in this country, because we fight our problems on the street, but it doesn't require that we have to work together. We just work against people all the time instead of working with people all the time. We're always fighting against people. And that's why we don't have that learning phase where we start to see people beyond just the surface. You know, we actually have to read the book that we look at. Okay, and that's an important thing in living. And it's like I challenge people out there, you know, to pick somebody that you can't stand. Okay, whether they're gay or lesbian or trans or whatever it is, approach these people, talk to them, and just tell them, be honest with them, saying it doesn't make me comfortable that you're like this, but why are you like this? Okay, why do you do this? Talk to them. You'd be surprised. A lot of these people, they might be like a little bit surprised that you would just come out and say that and ask them, but they would tell you. They will explain it to you. I did that. Okay, I did that. I talked to somebody who was trans or something like that, and you know, they were really nice to me at first. I didn't ask them right off, but when they told me, you know, how they were living, I asked them. I said, so how does that work? How do you get something out of that? You know, explain it to me. I said, you know, because I grew up this way and that way, and I was taught that was wrong. But tell me, talk to me about this. I want to understand. And they were very appreciative that I came and talked to them about it. And they told me a lot of things, you know, what they do, the pronouns they like to use, and all this stuff. It's complicated, but at the same time, it makes sense to people who are trying to live the way they feel that makes sense to them, okay? And you can't condemn somebody for living in a way that makes sense to them. We all try to do that in our own ways, in our own lives, all of us. You know, we all have our habits, we all have our collections, we all have our beliefs and stuff like that. And even though they might agree with a lot of other people, okay, some of us can go through life without being shunned by it because, you know, it's more popular. But for the people who are doing more unpopular things, it's very much like us doing things, okay, in a different way. But they just don't want to be condemned for it. Okay, they want to be accepted into this country, into the community, because, you know, they got dreams, they got the same desires to succeed in life like the rest of us. They just, you know, they want people to understand that, you know, the way they think isn't always going to be in line with us, but they're not trying to insult us to our face. They're not trying to, how can you say it, flaunt it or anything like that. All they're asking for is just let them live, okay? You know, they're going to make mistakes just like I'm going to make mistakes, just like you are going to make mistakes. And it doesn't matter, you know, what kind of person you are. We are all going through this life in the same fashion, okay? And believe me, you know, it might not agree with your lifestyle or something like that, but it's what they want to do, okay? It's what they want to do. That's what they feel comfortable with. It's what makes them get up in the morning and face the world. And it strengthens them, okay? And maybe, you know, if we understood more about how they can do that, maybe we can learn how to accept ourselves better and how we can interact with each other better. You know, I think there's a lot to learn there from that. So, yeah, anyway, that's like I was saying, that video about the teacher, that teacher really has a lot to learn, okay? Probably a young lady, maybe, you know, kindergarten teachers usually aren't that old, but yeah, tolerance is something that teacher doesn't have. Unfortunately, they're in a job where they're going to be meeting all kinds of kids from different walks of life, and if they can't tolerate differences, she shouldn't be a teacher, because look what she was trying to do in this situation. What right does she have to report kids and their parents to somebody who's posing as an ICE agent on a phone? That's pretty despicable, if you ask me. If I had a kid in the classroom, I'd have yanked that kid out of there and say, you know, that woman doesn't deserve to be teaching anybody in this fucking room, because these kids are supposed to learn how to come together, and she's out there trying to separate because she can't tolerate somebody that she thinks is here illegally. Okay? She doesn't know what a fucking illegal person looks like. She just judges, oh, they're from Honduras. What right does she have to go and dig up people's fucking backgrounds to find out where the fuck they were born and stuff? That's ridiculous. That's an overreach of her authority. Okay, she should have been fired on the spot for that. Oh well. Okay, so anyway, that's it for today. I hope everybody has a great rest of the week. So subscribe, comment, and share. And keep your ears open for colds and viruses out there. And help each other out. You know, be an icon for support. Be an example, you know, for others. Do the right thing. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.